Myrna. Got the dove. And I'm going to do the little immersive thing. So, Dove and Myrna, yeah, this mic is all yours.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm the best to you this morning.
Best to you too.
Over to you, Myrna.
So soon? Thanks. Over to me. Yes. Well, we talk about the lessons, don't we? We like to discuss the lessons and dissect them and explain them as we see them and so forth.
Yep.
Yes. Today's lesson is number 37. My holiness blesses the world.
Yep.
My holiness blesses the world. So this lesson attempts to teach us to recognize our own holiness. And to recognize our own holiness, we have to want to understand the world. If we can't really understand the world, we can only understand that we're part of the world, and that the Course in Miracles says if we bless the world with our holiness, then we're taking the right step in recognizing that the world needs to accept that recognition that we are holy, we're holy sons of God. Interesting, I heard something do you know that Jesus will be in the Super Bowl this year? There will be there will be ads and commercials bringing Jesus into the fold. I thought that was such an interesting thing because what it tells me is that let's bring Jesus, his holiness, where it can be found into the world. And there's also right now an ongoing ad campaign, a great ad campaign, expressing bringing Jesus into the picture, into the ads. I see it happening already. I can turn the TV on and look at a commercial will come on, and very subtly it'll have a message from Jesus. This tells me that he's not really so much a religious icon as a spiritual one, because it's bringing masses and masses of people to that thought system. The Super Bowl is watched by millions, and so I think this will give it a nice touch, a very interesting touch. It is about knowing that the world needs to see that it is born in holiness. The world needs to see this, and I guess we're the ones who try to spread the word what it is to be holy, to accept the presence of our own holiness, and once we see it in ourselves, we can see it in others. And that's the only way really that we can see it in others is by recognizing it in ourselves. And to learn of our holiness is to realize that we were never guilty. Regis before was talking about guilt, and the ego will find any method it can to bring guilt into the picture, even learning the Course. I'm not learning it well. I'm not adhering to its message. I don't live it. And if I don't live it, I must be guilty. So guilt plays a very important role in the ego's thought system, because it keeps us from recognizing our holiness. And what is our holiness but the understanding that we come from a source that's holy? That's where we come. That's what we originated from, and we can never separate from that. We can only still be a part of that. So we recognize that it is our holiness that is the grasp of true understanding who we are, what we're all about, what our brother is. And once we do that, then we can eliminate a judgment of ourselves and a judgment of our brother. And when we can do that, we also realize that he is not
Heart
guilty.
face emoji
He's
for me.
not-
So before I went to bed, hours later, I switched. I didn't even switch it. I just went to the and then I hit the crying face emoji.
Well, sure, because you're thinking about it right
Oh my
before
God,
bed.
you brought attention to it again?
Yes, I'm stupid. I
You
did have
hear
a
this?
Hot Jose incident yesterday.
What is
Hot Jose
that?
is my daughter's soccer
I have
coach.
no
He posted
clue.
an Instagram story yesterday,
Uh-huh.
listening to Taylor Swift in the car, and I meant to click the, you know how it gives you those responses, the laughing, crying face emoji.
Yeah.
I was just gonna click that one, but for some reason my thumb went over a little bit too far, and I hit the heart face
Oh
emoji.
yeah,
Yeah.
that wasn't on accident.
You
that was
did
your
a heart face
subconscious.
emoji to
Yes.
Hot Jose.
And
That should have been the first emoji you wanted
But
to
it's the
send.
heart face emoji that like pops up on your screen that goes. I wouldn't stop thinking about. I'm like, this was weird that he got a heart face emoji from me. So before I went to bed, hours
I
later,
do not know what
I
that is
switched-
or who's
I didn't even
playing
switch it. I
The
just
only
went to the
people
same
on here
story
are
and then I
you
hit
and,
the crying face emoji.
Regis. Ah, found it.
You found it, okay.
Was it
I've,
me?
I've done that before my own self. All right.
All right. I'll pick up a little here, Myrna. Thank you so much for opening up.
Thank you.
And actually, yeah, it's Super Bowl week, and actually, Regis spoke about this, and Kerry put in his vote for the 49ers. And I did not know that Jesus is going to be attending the Super Bowl this Sunday, but that's very interesting because that tells me that the 49ers are going to win. Not because I want to see the 49ers win, but San Francisco is the spiritual power point in the United States. It was Timothy Leary. I know you remember Timothy Leary, back the Harvard professors, along with Ram Dass, Richard Albert, who took the LSD in those early days. It was Timothy Leary that says, depending on where you live is what it is that you're focused on. And he said, like, for instance, people who live in the Washington, D.C. area, they're very much into politics and political power. People in New York, they're very much into capitalism and money, and that's what they kind of worship. And people in San Francisco are spiritual. So if Jesus is visiting, you can probably say that there's a favoring of the 49ers over the Chiefs. Can you imagine that? I don't know.
Says a man who's been on LSD thousands of times. I I don't think so, because San Francisco is St. Francis town. So maybe God's following it because of St. Francis. But what about Kansas City? The chiefs, the heads of the native nations, they have their own ancestral gods and deities. Maybe they're leading the way. Whatever you want to call it. Yeah, I've taken lots of acid too and have said some pretty dumb stuff. Anyway,
Okay, all right. I definitely am open to all ways of seeing this.
I gotta laugh now.
No, it's just anybody can win. Actually, the people in Washington have been saying that somehow this thing has been somewhat there's been some people who want to see the Chiefs win because then they can hear people who are for the Chiefs are for Biden. And that sounds like a political remark, but I'm open. I'm just like Regis. Regis says, I am this way because I am open-minded. Open-minded means it doesn't matter who wins, we all win. It doesn't matter who wins, we all win. You know, there's no losing, and we all win. There's a line in the course that says all together or not at all. So if you're going to be a Super Bowl champ, it's going to be, we're all in this together. That's pretty much what ACIM together is all about. We're all in this together. We gather together to ask the Lord's blessing. Yes, we're all blessed. Lesson 40, I am blessed. Sounds like Lynn's birthday lesson. Lynn's birthday lesson, I am blessed as a child of God, as a son of God. We're all blessed as sons of God. So let's take a Ken Wapnick commentary on today's lesson. Lesson number 37, my holiness blesses the world. The focus of this lesson is not really on the world at all. Exactly as Myrna said and pointed out, it's about us. We're blessed. It's on our thoughts. If our thoughts are rooted in the holiness of Christ that we are, everything we perceive must automatically be its extension. So we're blessed as sons of God. All we have to do is teach only love, for that is what we are. With that, over to you, Myrna.
Teach love, yes. You know, I like you talk about the Super Bowl. What's so nice about it, or any stadium where there are sports, you know, I notice that there is no hate. Everybody's there to have a good time. Everybody's cheering. Everybody's loving it. Everybody is, you know, you don't talk. It's not about politics. It's not about what's going on in the world. It's about teams playing against one another, and but everybody is absolutely in the moment with games. I was never much of a sports fan, except my boyfriend Pat is very into football, so I've been watching football, you know, with him. I mean, you know, intermittently, and he's so happy that I'll be there watching the Super Bowl with him this Sunday. But I told him it's really because I like the commercials. I always love the Super Bowl commercials. They're the best. They really, you know, they're not ordinary commercials. And to enjoy watching commercials, it makes me laugh because they bring so much into it. There's so much, into the Super Bowl commercials because they're like extravaganzas. You know, and then hearing that this year Jesus is going to be present. Wow, I'm really going to enjoy those commercials quite a bit. But it's great. It's a time of year that people get together. They get together in each other's homes. They're joyful. They're together in groups. They're cheering, and that's really what I wish the world would be like all the time. Recognizing that it's all fun and games, really, and not to take anything so seriously as we do. And when we start to take things seriously, you know, the Course teaches us that we need to get away from guilt and to recognize that we're not guilty creatures of doom. We are only creatures of love. That's, yeah, and the Course instills that over and over again, recognizing that our holiness can't be disturbed. It can't be, there's no question, that's what we are. And the Course is just so direct about that. For me, learning the Course was a joy. I never felt guilty that I wasn't doing it correctly. All I knew is that when I behaved incorrectly, I would turn to the Course to get back on track, to get back on the path of what I'm learning and what I want to continue to learn. So for me, the Course was always a way to recognize that there's a place for me to go to pick up, and that I don't need to nurture my guilt. Guilt is a terrible emotion that the ego loves to keep us trapped in the trap of guilt. And, it's all made up. It really is. There is no guilt in heaven. There is no guilt in God. So if there is no guilt there, why am I feeling guilty? Why am I bringing it upon myself to nurture that guilt when, that there is no guilt in me? And I think when I started reading the course, what I was so enamored with was that it told me no uncertain terms that there is no judgment, that God never judges and never judged me. And it helped me to recognize if I'm not judged and I'm part of the whole sonship, I'm the son of God, then everybody is deserving of not to be judged. And so for me, the course was a very uplifting part of my life. From the minute I picked it up, it was. And that happened a long time ago. So I turn it back to you, Dove.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Actually, you kind of brought us into a love-filled way of seeing things when you recognize that guilt is a false belief, a lie, doesn't really exist in reality, and you start smiling at it. And I was looking at something. I was listening to Ken Wapnick this morning, like I usually do, and he read from chapter 27, section 8, I think, the dream of the dream, and it's in paragraph 9. I put it in the room ready, and I think I'll put it here in the chat so we can all read it together. And this is what it says, if you're inviting Jesus to the party, it's the same thing inviting the Holy Spirit to the party. And, you could be rooting for one side or the other side, but in gentle laughter, does the Holy Spirit perceive the cause and looks not to the effect. So it doesn't matter who wins the game. It's how you play the game. If you're playing the game out of the love in your heart, it's a love-filled experience, and that's what you're talking about. Like you enjoy, the people that are cheering, and everyone's having a good time because there's so much love in your heart. If there's any hatred in your heart, it goes nowhere. I mean, hatred is a false belief system that doesn't even exist. So if you come and you're cheering that we're all here together, either all together or not at all, you're enjoying the gentle laughter that the Holy Spirit perceives in the cause and not the effect. You don't you don't have to watch the scoreboard. That's the effects. The cause is we're all in this together. So how else could he correct your error who have overlooked the cause entirely? So yes, we gather together to ask the Lord's blessing.
He chastens and hastens his will to make known the wicked oppressing, will cease them from distressing. They sing praises to his name. He forgets not his own. I can't believe you brought that back to me. I heard that in third grade. How did it stay with me? It just made me want to sing along with you.
I am so glad that you knew that really perfect in sharing, because I didn't know the lyrics, but I know the content. We gather together. That's actually where ACIM gather came from, by the way.
Really?
From that song, yes. We gather together to ask the Lord's blessing. He hastens and chastens. So anyway, continuing from chapter 27, section 8, the dream of the dream, he goes on to say, what does it go on to say? He says, he bids you to bring each terrible effect to him, that you may look together on its foolish cause and laugh with him a while. Yeah, so if you're going there and you have hatred for the other side. There are no, it's not, there are no sides in the mind of Jesus. He looks on all and he sees the face of Christ. There's no sides. I mean, God doesn't take sides. He gives all to all equally. There's no sides in equality. So then it goes on to say, you judge effects, but he has judged their cause. And the cause is light, love, peace, joy, and truth. How could you judge that which is eternal, has no limits? It's impossible. Who is there to judge? And looking at looking at lesson 198, it's only my judgments that can hurt me or cause me pain. It's only my forgiveness that sets me free. Oh, really? You mean forgiveness sets me free? Yeah. And do not forget today that there can be no form of suffering. So if your team is losing, there can be no form of suffering that fails to hide an unforgiving thought. So if you're here to enjoy the event and not make one better than another, you are going to have a joyful day. And then it goes on to say, nor can there be a form of pain that forgiveness cannot heal. You got to realize that I'm here to gather together. We ask the Lord's blessing together. So that's why Jesus is going to be in attendance at the Super Bowl. I'll just finish the rest of this paragraph because it's so good. He says, he has judged their cause and not their effects. And by his judgment, and see the Holy Spirit does judge, but he looks at cause and not effects, and by his judgment, the effects are removed, deleted, gone. Perhaps you come in tears, but now hear him say, my brother, Holy Son of God, behold your idle dream. It's a dream. You got to laugh in which this could occur, and you will leave this holy instant with your laughter and your brothers joined with his. Yes, so everyone's going to be leaving the stadium in Las Vegas, which is going to be an event seen by 1 billion people, in joy and laughter. Everybody, yes. Can you imagine that? And by the way, we were brought up very close to each other. I'm from Yonkers. You're from the Bronx. That's why we gather together to ask the Lord's blessing. Over to you, Myrna.
Yeah, I love that you brought that memory back to me. We used to sing it in the auditorium, and I loved not listening. In those days, I didn't even know what the words meant. All I know is I liked the music, the way it sounded, everybody singing. It brought joy to the auditorium. I remember that, and I suppose that's why I remember the words. I thought it was such a beautiful song. Thinking of songs, I was listening to Billy Joel singing I Love You Just the Way You Are. I love that. I love you just the way you are. Don't go changing just to please me. I'll take the good times, I'll take the bad times. I love you just the way you are. I really like that because I started to think about people who loved me just the way I was. And there were people in my life who loved me just the way I am. And that is what true love is. That's what love without condition is. To love somebody for just who they are, what they are, not to try to change them. We all are what we are. And we are what we are. And if those who love us really accept the good, bad, the indifferent, it's true love because they see us, they see the holiness within, they're seeing that. It's a wonderful song because, the melody is nice, the words are really lovely too.
Daughter
I
Natalie.
want to be loved the way I am. So therefore, you know, when people love us just as we are, we recognize that they see the holiness within in us, that they see it. There's something there. There's something more than just the facade of the ego. It's a deeper recognition that we're loved because we are. We just are. I know that the love that God gives us, the love that we can feel. And believe me, I do feel that love. I do feel that unconditional love. Yes, God loves me just the way I am. I don't have to change to please God. That's a wonderful recognition, knowing that I don't have to please God. I just have to be the best I can be, and God would never judge me. That's a really a wonderful feeling, because then it helps us to believe and see that judgment should not be a part of the of our daily routine of, you know, we go through the day, and if thoughts occur, come uninvited thoughts of a past difference we might have had with another, to just let it go. We don't have to hold on to those beliefs, because they're not real. Why would I want to judge somebody else if I don't want to be judged and I don't feel judged? So why would I want to be a part of that? And so you know, it's part of our growth, our growth patterns. We go through you know, periods of growth. We talk about cause and effect. Whatever we do, which is the cause, has an effect. Anything that we do has an effect. So if we're going to relate badly, have a bad day, do something that may cause us to maybe interfere with that peace, well, that's the cause. And what is the effect of that? The effect of that is what we just created by the cause, and the effect is the outcome of everything. And so really it's as simple as cause and effect. Do something to create a positive effect. How do we do that? Positive effects come through the truth, that we don't need to create unhappiness for us or anybody else. If we do, the effect will be unhappiness. And that's what the world is. There's no judgment. All it is, it's cause and effect. Do yourself a favor, behave yourself in your thinking, purify your thoughts, and the effects will become apparent. So I turn it back to you, Doug.
Okay. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, actually, yeah, I'm sure you saw Billy Joel at the Grammys, and he played that song, you know, about forgiveness. And he says, did I wait too long to forgive? Turn the lights back on. This was, you know, the song that he just wrote, just turn the lights back on. That was his idea of forgiveness. So I mean, he took that like right out of the Course in Miracles. I mean, how do you turn the lights back on? If you fail to forgive, you're going to live in the dark. The one you want to live in the light. Forgiveness is my only function. That's it. You know, but he questioned, did I wait too long? Actually, as the Course says, time is the vast illusion. There is no time, so there's no such thing as I wait too long. The moment that you forgive is always in the present now. The present now is in the eternal now. So forgiveness says I let go of the past. So it's that letting go process. Somebody here mentioned not too long ago about how come there's no surrender in the Course, and I think we looked it up, and nowhere in the Course does it say surrender. This morning, Ken Wapnick actually talked about it. He said the reason there's no surrender in the course is probably has a lot to do with Helen. Helen, who would not use the word surrender. She wouldn't say, I'm going to make you the boss ever. So she would use the word let go, which is really another word for surrender. But that's why surrender doesn't really appear in A Course in Miracles, because Helen would not ever use that word. It would not come into her mind, or Jesus wouldn't say that to her, because he knows. I mean, he already had a tough enough time with Helen. She was, she didn't want to see him as the Prince of Peace. That you're higher than me. She said, hey, listen, I'll listen to you as long as it makes sense. So yeah, that's what I want to share. Don't let the old man in. That's what Regis is saying. Don't let the old man in. Yeah, so you want to be the one Son of God, and the one Son of God is remembering that I am one with all. Because if you think you're the only Son of God, that's inequality. So we gather together to remember that we are one, equal, the same. There are no differences in oneness. Over to you, Myrna.
Yeah, I like that you talk about Helen. As much as she fought, and she did, I listened to her videos, and as much as she still asked his advice. I heard Ken Wapnick say that she asked him what to respond to somebody, what to say to this person, and he's told her that um, whatever you say, as long as it's without judgment, then you will automatically say the right thing. Think about that. We want to know what to say to somebody. If we do without judgment, the automatic response comes. And so I enjoyed that. I like to hold on to that thought, and I do really, because I think it's a very important one. We can say anything as long as we do it without judgment, and then the right words will come to us. And I suppose it's really hard to separate truth from judgment. Especially when we're in the throes of a heated discussion with somebody. It's very hard to do that, and that takes practice. And I'm sure Helen had all those same instincts that we all do. She didn't want to forgive a certain person. She fought that. And yet, the songs that the poems that she wrote, and the that came from the heart, that that were about Jesus, were about love, about healing. She wrote a lot of poetry, and it's interesting that he chose Helen to be the scribe of all that he wanted
Hey,
to let the world know.
she was
Right?
she was a very resistant person. Back over to you.
Yeah, he didn't give it to some nun in the desert, right? He gave it to Helen, who was busy with thesis, with New York City, and in all the the excitement that was going on, and all the what was happening. Really, it would seem unlikely that she would have received the course, and yet look who he chose. So that told me really that. That he had no judgment in him. I'm going to give it to Helen. Why are you giving it to me? She asked. Why do I have to do this? And he said, because you'll do it. Interesting. And then in another audio or video I saw of her, she said that somewhere in time she believed that she was made the agreement to do this. That was more or less, it was something she knew she had to do. It never occurred to her not to do it. And that I found to be very interesting too. So there was a collaboration there, and look what happened. She was able to to do it, to finish it. I mean, that was a heck of a job that he gave her, in view of the fact that she was working, she was doing a thesis, she was in the midst of her own life, and yet this had to be, she had to give time, her time to do this. And she couldn't even lose it, you know, she would leave it on a train and somebody would come after her with it, and say, you forgot this, and here she would, you know, she had it in her hands again. She didn't, and then she decided she was gonna stop, she just wanted to stop, and he allowed her to stop for a while, but then she would, you know, he'd start prodding her again, you know, you better do it, you know, like Whoopi Goldberg, that movie, what was that movie where I am Henry VIII, I am Henry VIII, you know, the movie, what was it? Ghost, the movie was Ghost, right? And she wanted he wanted her help, and she just didn't want anything to do with it. And that's what he kept singing. She kept hearing that over and over again. I suppose something like that might have happened to Helen, because she knew that she just, you know, could leave it alone for a while, but she needed to definitely pursue it. And she could just leave it. She could just drop it right in the midst of writing, and then she knew that she thought would reconnect when she decided to pick it up again. And then Ken said that, you know, he would tell her where to shop. That was interesting. He would tell Helen where to shop because that gave her joy, and that kind of kept her, okay, I'll do what you want me to do. Just, I love shopping. Just tell me where to shop. I ask him where to shop sometimes too. I think he does a good job of that. Anyway, the story of Helen and the Course in Miracles is a fascinating one, and I love it because the patience that it took for him and for her to complete this great work of art. That's how I see it. It's a work of art. It's beautifully written.
Billy Joel took the Grammy stage for the first time in.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Anyway, I turn it back to you, Doug.
Okay.
22 years to live debut his new single, Turn the Lights Back On, which he dropped Thursday night. Wearing sunglasses, Joel played.
Hey, Regis, I think you might be playing something that's going through the room. Could you please unshare?
Unshare what?
I was talking to Regis.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Okay, I was gonna play the Billy Joel song that he played. Turn.
Oh, that was you playing that just now?
That's me, yes.
Oh, okay. I thought that was that same thing again. So
Yeah.
okay. Do you want me to give you the share sound ability? Let me do that.
Yeah. Okay.
Culmination of an emotional evening
Okay.
that also saw Tracy Chapman and Joni Mitchell make stunning returns. That's right, y'all, Trevor Noah told the crowd when it was over. One of the greats. Turn the Lights Back On is Billy Joel's first new song since 2007's Christmas in Fallujah. The Grammys kept wrongly insisting Turn Your Lights Back On is Joel's first single in 31 years. He also released All My Life in 2007. The 31-year gap refers to River of Dreams, his most recent album of original pop songs. Turn the Lights Back On was produced by Justin Bieber, Ariana Grande songwriter Freddie Wexler, who co-wrote the song along with Joel, Wayne Hector, and Arthur Bacon. The romantic ballad is ostensibly about a couple trying to rekindle their romance, but it can also be read as Joel speaking to his audience after years of denying them new material. I'm late, Joel sings, but I'm here right now and I'm trying to find the magic that we lost somehow. Maybe I was blind, but I see you now. He wrapped up the night by breaking out his 1980 classic, You May Be Right, which is his standard set, Closer on the Road. Joel last played at the Grammys back in 2022 when he performed New York State of Mind with Tony Bennett. Prior to that, he played River of Dreams at the 1994 ceremony. That was the year Grammy producers cut Frank Sinatra off mid-speech and went to commercial. Joel stopped the song midway through to mock them for disrespecting the icon.
Okay, for some reason I was motivated to play that. I
What
actually
did you want to play? I could get it. What did you want to play?
I'm going to play a couple of bars from the song because he talks about forgiveness. You know, he's such an incredibly spiritual guy.
Yes.
Yeah, of course, one of his great songs is "I'm in a New York frame of mind." One of the questions is always asked if we didn't start the fire, who did? But you know, the amazing fact about him is that he filled Madison Square Garden, which is 18,000 people, 152 times. He sold out Madison Square Garden, 18,000 tickets, 152 times. Is that the song, by the way? You got it?
Here, I'll play the song for you if you like.
What is the name of the song that you want?
Well, for playing that.
Yeah, that's the best thing you could have played. It really is the best thing.
I mean,
It's
I wait too long. It's not even a question. It's always now.
right. Did I wait too long? Well, let me read what it says here. Billy Joel officially made his return to the Grammy Awards stage during the 66th annual ceremony with an emotional performance of the new single, Turn the Lights Back On, complete with a live orchestra accompanying him. Joel serenaded the crowd with his latest romantic ballad, which ruminates on the possibility of repairing a flawed relationship. With his signature soulful vocals on display, the New York icon brought the enraptured Los Angeles crowd to their feet. That just sends chills through me because, I mean, that really, the emotion behind it had to reach the audience. It had to manifest in that way. And, you know, turn the lights back on. We've been in the dark too long. And that's really the message there. I'm also reading an interesting book by Barbara Streisand. My Name is Barbara. It's 500 pages. I wouldn't have bought it. I think it cost $54. I think it's an expensive book. A friend of mine got it as a gift, a birthday gift, and she said, "I'm not going to read it." I said, "Let me read it. Let me read it." So she gave me the book, and she too, you know, talks about how to connect with an audience. You connect on a soul level. That's one of the things that I've also always recognized about Barbara Streisand. When she sings and when she speaks, it's not the words, it's not just the voice, it's the spirit of the feeling that comes through. And that's really why I wanted to read her book, because she talks about that, how, you know, to just connect on a soul level. Aren't we all looking to do that? To connect our soul to whatever we're trying to convey, and to do it on a not just words. You know, words don't really mean anything unless they're backed by the spirit within that connects it to the words that we're trying to convey. You know, and Billy Joel, and he does that in this song. So, turn the lights back on. It brings me to my favorite lesson, actually. Light and joy and peace abide in me, light abides in me. That's lesson number 93. That was always my favorite lesson. I think that was the breakthrough for me when I read that. You think you are the home of evil, darkness, and sin. You think if anyone could see the truth about you, he would be repelled, recoiling from you as if from a poisonous snake. And that is exactly how I felt. Exactly. That really brought to light what I was feeling. That if anybody really knew the truth about me, they would be repelled. It would be so bad. You think of what is true about you were revealed to you, you would be struck with horror so intense that you would rush to death by your own hand, living on, seeing that this is impossible. So we're saying you can't even kill yourself. There's nothing you can do to get away from it. And that really brought me to my feet in recognition that there is no other way. This lesson did it for me, and I loved it because I think I cried when I read it. It really helped me reveal to myself the truth of who I was, the truth that I was not some vulgar specimen that was just, in the world taking up space. Here I recognize that I'm just like everybody else. I'm no different. We all feel that way. This was addressing everyone. And that itself was just wonderful. And, it says that these are beliefs so firmly fixed that it is difficult to help you see that they are based on nothing. So you mean everything I did, everything I thought I did, every piece of guilt that I've been dragging around with me as baggage is really nothing. And all I have to do is just drop it. That's all I have to do. And, that was such an amazing wake-up call for me. That you have made mistakes is obvious. That you have sought salvation in strange ways, have been deceived, deceiving and afraid of foolish fantasies and savage dreams, and have bowed down to idols made of dust. All this is true by what you believe. That's what, and it's only made true by a belief. In truth, it's not true. And I came to learn that because when after that, now, having gone through the Course in Miracles and gone through my own demons through life, coming out the other end, recognizing that it is there for me, that the truth is there for me to realize whenever I want to. And so it was a tremendous wake-up call for me. Anyway, I turn it over to you, Doug.
That was brilliant. Thank you so much for sharing that. And as you say, is that all there is to it? Or just to let go of what was really nothing? And that's exactly what he's speaking to in that chapter 27, section 8.
Yeah.
The Holy Spirit looks at the same thing that you're looking at, but laughs. You gotta laugh. In gentle laughter does the Holy Spirit perceive the cause and looks not at the effects. How else can you correct your error who have overlooked the cause entirely? I'm the dreamer of the dream. There's nothing there. You gotta laugh. So I also bought a book. Those people know me. I always like to say I never buy books. Well, I changed that tune. I bought a book. I don't know if you can see it. It says Course in Miracles Experiment, a starter kit for rewiring your mind and therefore the world by Pam Brown. And she's a #1 New York Times best-selling author. And apparently the course has changed her life. I just want to read a little from the preface, which I only read the preface, which they give you freely on Amazon. And once I read it, I sent it to I sent it to 2 daughters and 1 granddaughter immediately. And then finally I got the book for myself, which is really amazing. And I also sent it to some other people. And if you want to get the book, it's called The Course in Miracles Experiment. This is what she says basically in The Course in Miracles Experiment. She says, clearly something needed to change. The course, which I ultimately began to follow in earnest, had the audacity to suggest I was responsible for my train wreck of a life. it implied that if I would simply let go of all my mad fixations, my he done me wrong blockages, and all the other clutter I picked up along the way, the world works. I could actually be happy. That goes along. Do you want to be right? Or do you want to be happy? It suggested the only reason I wasn't experiencing big ass love and swimming in perpetual abundance was because my consciousness was on red alert. I'll skip down here. It says the course pulls no punches, going so far. Let's see how much time I have. The course pulls no punches, going so far as to guarantee that perfect peace and perfect joy are my inheritance. All I have to do is give up my belief in deprivation and lack. But that's so hard, I whined. It's not hard, the voice was insisting. It's your natural state. It's just very different than the way most people think. She said, I also learned from the course that the tall blonde chick in the mirror I look at isn't really me. The depressed pregnant woman driving the blue Toyota cross country was nothing but a false identity I've been taught to assume by a world that worships separation and limitation. By focusing in on that little self, I completely missed my connection to this other thing, this bigger thing that many call God. I had completely imprisoned myself by zeroing in on this rickety body that was never, no matter how many face creams I ever used, no matter how many downward facing dogs I did, no matter how many Wayne Dyer books I ever read, was going to ever be good enough. And that's what the course is about. Taking a wrecking ball to mental constructs that have imprisoned us for far too long, taking the focus off the limited self we see in the mirror and putting it on the glamorous field of potentiality, the FP, field of potentiality that allows us to connect to all that is. It's about letting go and surrendering to the all-loving, all-powerful energy force that's bigger, bolder, brighter, and yes, stranger than anything we've ever yet seen. This sacred buzz is life itself, life which, no matter how many walls we erect, no matter how seriously we screw up, is always there waiting with arms open wide. You gotta
Amazing.
really got a lot. She really got it. I mean, and by the way, I thought that this is the only book she ever wrote. No, she's a bestseller. I forgot who it is that told me she wrote a book called E equals MC squared or something like that. She's written a whole bunch of books, which is why they call her a #1 New York Times best-selling author. But she takes something that seems to be difficult and she puts it in very easy to speak about terms. So I do recommend the book to anyone. It's called A Course in Miracles Experiment, the starter kit for rewiring your mind and therefore the world. Back over to you, Myrna, for
That's brilliant.
Is
Really
that Pam Gear? Who wrote that?
Pam Grout.
Pam Grout. Yeah. Lisa Natoli does studies of her books.
Uh-huh. Yes, and she writes so simply that makes it easy. That's why I sent it to my my children.
Pam Grant.
All right. Thank you so much, Myrna. It was a wonderful session, really, as always. But somehow there was a lot of peace, light, love, and joy, as always. But the Holy Spirit is always with us, smiling and laughing, and said, "You got to learn. You simply got to learn."
Thank you, Doug.
Okay.
Thanks, you two. Love you both so much. And I'm so grateful for you.
We are blessed as a child of God. Lesson 40 coming up very